Howdy. Been a long time since I've done one of these. Few reasons, but life's gotten heavy duty these days. And when it's sitting inside of me bubbling to get out, and I don't have an audience yet till summer, I'm gonna throw a video out there just to kind of tell you how I'm dealing with some of the things that are going on right now. Somebody posted on Facebook how Facebook's becoming more like an obituary and a list of suffering in the world today, and that really hit me because it's true. I watch all the death going on. I watch people just hurting left and right. I keep seeing the post about everyone's fighting a battle nobody knows about, so please be kind. And yet everything continues down that same path. Lately I've been overwhelmed over the last 3 weeks and just kind of internalizing things. And a lot of times I've shot videos that nobody ever sees because once I get it out, I'm like, man, that feels good. But some things really hit home, and I'm just gonna share how I'm dealing with it, my wife's dealing with it. So if you got some time, listen on. If you don't, just move on. Because a lot of times I tell kids, don't care what people think, please. You be you, nobody does it better. But then I don't take the same advice for myself. And got back to me with some screenshots. There's some lowlifes out there, insecure people who have nothing better to do that make fun of my videos. And I had to burst out laughing because when I really looked at them, like I tell everybody else, check the source. I see a town gossip. I see somebody who only listens to one side. I see a racist, a sexist, basically just ignorant slime cheater that takes shots at me. And I'm like, you know what, if that makes them feel better, I guess I'm doing my job, aren't I? So that's kind of what I want to do, is make people feel better. So take your shots, do what you got to do, I don't care. So my wife came home and told me, she was watching at a time, that Goob was at a function and some kids were huddled around him, freshmen, and they were trying to get him to say and do stuff, and they were giggling and laughing, and they were making fun of him. And he finally just had enough. He turned around, he walked away, and she watched the kids poking each other and pointing at him and laughing and rolling their eyes. And you know, I hate that term bullying. I just hate that term bullying because a lot of times kids are kids, but it's the standard today of cutting people down instead of building people up. My point is, my mom always said, you don't have something nice to say, just don't say anything at all. They can't just leave him alone. We know Goob's special, and I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. Autism, I'm learning so much. Yeah, he's quirky, but man, he sees the world so differently, and sometimes it's so very beautiful. But then it scared me because some things had happened, and that 14-year-old beautiful boy made the comment, maybe I should have been the one to commit suicide. Think about that for a second as a parent. You look at what's happening around us over the last 3 weeks. You know, let's go back to last year. We had a family that was executed and then suicide by the shooter attempted. We had a 12-year-old girl here at Morley Stanwood take her own life. My heart goes out to the Hesbrook family. I have no words. I wish I could find a way to help cure their soul. I cannot imagine. The shooting in Mount Pleasant, the 90-year-old couple that was hit and killed. We had a friend driving to Ovid Elsie in the morning, watched the mother's car spin out of control and her 14-year-old son killed. There's a girl in the bleachers at an event, I think it was in Ann Arbor, killed in the bleachers going to have fun. Death is everywhere, and that's what people are focusing on right now. And it absolutely crushes me because life is so precious. Life is so precious. And I keep looking at it going, when my son, our son, makes a comment, maybe I should have been the one to commit suicide. I got angry because you got one life, bud. You got so much to live for. My wife handled it and talked to him to find out, but it's becoming a mainstay with this generation about it's the easy way to go. I don't know the answers. I'm not a counselor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I just know I got some ideas I'm going to share with you about what I'm doing with our family to try to help out, because I truly in my heart do not believe anyone wants to die. I believe they want the pain to go away. And that seems to be like the solution that they found, unlike I immediately grab my dog or a couple dogs and I talk to my dogs. I walk out in the woods. I go to the gym. I got things out that way and deal with stuff. But I just look at it when my son said that, and it really, truly opened my eyes, because a lot of you are aware of our struggles with our oldest son, Jordan. And it's a day-to-day thing that we don't bring public anymore, but it's never gone away. We still just had one last week, TV station wanted to do another interview, newspapers that reach out. I get videos from all over the country from people sharing. I get them into our private group to try to help them out with the mental health care system, but it's a whole different thing. I want to really focus on Goob when we were in the car today driving over, and that's what really triggered. I'm doing the video. To hell with anybody that doesn't, want to listen to it. Just move on, or go watch my other video called Flush. He said, "Dad, I've been listening to Linkin Park lately," and immediately I kind of turned and looked. I said, "Buddy, what's up?" He goes, "I really like the song One More Light." If you haven't listened to it, you should, because the Linkin Park singer took his own life. I listened to it a lot when I was going through a tough time. And One More Light, to me, is pretty impressive and gives hope, because the lyrics, who cares when someone's time runs out? If a moment is all we are, we're quicker. Who cares if one more light goes out? And then he says, well, I do. And then the other part of it is, in a sky of a million stars, who cares if one more light burns out? And that's how people get in these dark places. There's always somebody that cares, somebody to talk to. And maybe down the road, I'll share one that the situation I was in, that the pain had gotten so great many years ago. So he and I listened to the song with Jake in the car as we were driving over, and we analyzed it like an English teacher would do, and I asked them what they thought. But he said, "Dad, we all matter." He goes, "It's just some people, they pick on other people because they hurt. And it makes them feel better, so when they hurt others, so they're hurting too." And I'm like, this is a 14-year-old kid that kids are making fun of. I wish they had that kind of insight. Then he also said, though, there's another song out there called Heavy, and it's with Linkin Park, and Kiara does a cameo in it. "I'm holding on. Why is everything so heavy? I'm holding on to so much more than I can carry. I keep dragging around what's bringing me down. If I just let go, I'd be set free. I'm holding on." When I asked the boys, they said that part about if I just let go, she's talking about suicide. And I said, "But buddy, why can't you take that as, if I just let go and let it go, if I put it behind me and I moved on and I focused on life?" And that's why this shirt I'm wearing today, I'm going to put some pictures on probably tomorrow morning too. If you look at it, you see the semicolon. And the semicolon is the story continues. You got to keep fighting for that story. But the top part is the demon. I'm putting my demons behind me, and my story's continuing. My life, my way. And he looked at the shirt and he grinned right away. And Jake goes, "Dad, that's pretty cool." And I go, "Make sure you read the back when we come in." And I'll have a picture on it that shows the back as we get to that. But it's like, I just communicate with them. So what I came up with, because when you can't find the answer for all the suicides, for all the death, for all the suffering, I polarize. Death, let's focus on life. So what I did with the boys, I started a Google Drive, and I made them, I call it the family bucket list for 2023. I shared it with all three, and I just said, put down things you want to do. And the first one, the Goob comes up with, I want to see the Kinzua Bridge. And I'm like, what? Sometimes I think this kid's an alien from another planet. Goob, what's the Kinzua Bridge? If you've ever asked the Goob a question about something, you better have an hour set by. And he whips it up on Google Maps, zooms in, and he starts going, "Dad, this bridge, this, blah, 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 and it fell, and it destroyed, and here's the history, and here's who built it." I mean, he knows everything. I got to get him in Quiz Bowl. And he said, "I want to see it." And I said, "Buddy, tell you what, let's do this. I'm going to get the summer calendar from May through August. I'm going to block out when I'm speaking. I'm going to block out the band camps and when Mom's gone. We're going to pick 4 days. We're going to drive to Pennsylvania. It takes about 8 hours. We're going to go see the bridge, spend a day there, get all your pictures and everything you need to tell your teachers when you get back." And he just lit up, and I could see life, because he's got something to live for. Then the next one was go to Colorado. And I asked him, I said, why do you want to go to Colorado? Well, Dad, you and Mr. Nelson talk so much about climbing and all the things you do with the whitewater rafting in those mountains. He goes, I want to do that with you. Same kid that said a couple weeks ago, I wish I was the one that committed suicide. Now he wants to live and he's got things to focus on. And I asked him, I said, buddy, if you hurt yourself, you never get to do this stuff. You know you want to go back to Disney and you want to ride the Avatar ride, because he had a hard time. He freaked out right at the end. And the lady was perfect, took him. Jake and I went on it. And he's regretted it. He wants to ride it again, and it's on his list. So when I looked at those things, but I'm trying to find a way to have my boys focus on life and what they want to live for. And I don't know if I'm going to talk to them about if you decided to hurt yourself, these are the things you'd miss, and I wouldn't get to do those with you. And you've always said the airsoft times, the Bigfoot times, all the things we've done in times with Mom and Dad are the most precious times, the ones you enjoy the most. We need to do these together. And they're beaming, and we're going to do that. So with me, I'm doing everything I can to be aware of what my kids are going through. My wife is on it like a mama bear like you've never seen, right there talking to them the entire time. But instead of trying to analyze the life-taking, the suffering, which I want them to be aware of, we're focusing on life. And any of this bullying that goes on, any of this picking on my kids or whatever, put it aside. Put that demon behind you, Goob. Put that demon behind you, Jake. Put that demon behind you and walk away. You can flush those people out of your life because your story is beautiful. Your story is going to move on. Tell your story with the gifts that you've got. And if you want, Dad will help you out and be part of that story. This world's crazy. I'm trying to do my part. So you go right ahead and make fun of me if you will. But I'm trying. My name's Jay. You take care.